Serge, you were sharing a little bit there about a space heater, and I just loved it and wanted to hear more about that story.
So a while back in my old office, it used to not be heated on a Sunday, and a friend of mine were gathering. Um, the room was very cold, and we had a little space heater in the middle, little cylinder, and it felt like people sitting in olden times, sitting next to a campfire and having that connection and that
Mm,
warmth of both the fire itself, but also the warmth of the connection.
mm. I love I love that. I mean the simple difference I think every one of us knows between a cold space, cold metaphorically, physically, and a warm space. Like the difference is just enormous. And so this capacity, I think, to co-create warm spaces with other people, it feels super important. Especially when we're not talking about just physically turning on a space heater, right? It's like a post-fossil fuel warming relational space. I think that's what we're interested in here with this practice of mindfulness. What do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah,
Mm,
totally. And the beauty of it is it's post, but in the sense that some science fiction
mm,
brings us back to rediscovering something that's from the past.
mm.
So there is something very post in it, but there is also back to the future, back or forward to the past kind of quality to it.
Yeah, like is it called the Ouroboros, the closing and
Yeah.
coming back to what is there, what's in us, and reawakening some of that. And I think just to be concrete, we say our practice, we invite people to welcome one another on our fuller selves and sink in for like 25 minutes or so of silence. And then perhaps what's a little bit new or different in what we do is we kind of share, investigate a little bit that silence together. And so there's this space that's warm through the welcoming, but it kind of deepens. And then there's a sharing about that. And I'm curious. I don't even really know why we do that, but I find it very rich. What about you?
I know that for myself, meditating without the sharing feels impoverished now that I've been sharing with other people. So it's no longer that sharing enriches the experience of meditation. It's really become the opposite, that I miss the expansion, the enrichment that is provided by knowing, by the sharing itself, as well as while meditating, knowing that other people are at the same time having that experience and will be talking about it.
Mm, mm. There's something about knowing what we know in the presence of others without it being some big heavy duty thing. It's not like description of silence. Sometimes it's a little silly. Sometimes it is actually quite profound. Um, I recognize we're talking today, having just meditated together with more than just you and me. And there was a quality of richness there. And I kept my eyes closed because in ways I was speaking from the silence, but with a deep awareness that we were all there. And I suppose in another group, it would be weird to keep my eyes closed. So that just those simple kinds of fuller, fuller self-expression in this simple way felt very rich and enriching.
Yeah. And so I want to highlight in what you're saying the simplicity of what we're talking about. We're not talking about fancy, amazing insights, but simply something like being together and sharing a moment of silence, being together and sharing, having our eyes closed for an extended period of time, um, reflecting and sharing. some of what came up for us. And for instance, what came up for me today was a silly image. It was not some fancy insight. It was that a tiny little elephant closed with closing in a corner and scurrying around. So, it doesn't have to be amazingly profound, but it's wonderful to have a space for that and to share it.
Different every time. And so I suppose our invitation is for folks who want to explore more the relational dimension of sitting. Um, it's an invitation to try that on. I think also, I mean, that can be its own purpose right there, but I think in my experience, it also has encouraged me over the years, because we've been doing this for years now, of the years of doing this, to have more confidence, more ease, more, it's like I don't even have to think much about inviting all the groups that I facilitate or work with to share silence. And it's just becoming more automatic, and I think that that's a useful thing at this time. Yeah,
Yes, yes, it's finding a common ground in, as you say, sharing silence. And after all, that's how it started. We each brought people from our communities together, people who did not necessarily have anything to do with each other. And that's a good space to actually meet.
it is. We invite others to meet with us too, right?
Yeah, yeah.